Said what we're going to talk about. We're talking about repertoire, and we're talking about German things. Here we go. So, here's what just kind of brief things, bullet points that can really help when you're trying to choose repertoire. Choose repertoire while you're a developing singer, which we are all developing singers. You're developing always. That never changes. It never goes away. I'll try. We're gonna try, Gabe. We're gonna try, Gabe.
We're doing it, Gabe.
But yeah. So, anyway. So yeah, everybody's a developing singer. These things, and what we also try to do is choose the points that are necessary for actually any part of your development. So they will apply in wherever you fall in this range. So anyway, the first thing, there are a few things to look at in the process. One of the most important things as an artist for any part of what you're trying to work on, which is ask the right questions. Learn what questions to ask. It will, hey Mark, Aaron, it will help you really define and give you the goals you need.
That's right.
To pursue it. So to pursue the answers. So and these questions should be posed by your teacher. And then you do a lot of investigation.
You pose these questions to your teacher. Oh, I took Norman's notes and I did like a big old hat job on them.
So you're gonna pose these to your teacher, and then also you search for it on your own, and so there's that collaboration.
Good evening.
That goes into all this. So, but anyway, so the first question that we would ask ourselves, I ask myself this when I've gone through transitions. The first question is, what is the natural weight of your voice? What's the heft of the voice, the actual physicality of the voice? Mm-hmm. What kind of heaviness or lightness, that kind of thing do you feel? This is actually going to be the main deciding factor for choosing your repertoire. Mm-hmm. And the weight of your voice is going to change as you age. Yes. Making a repertoire change necessary is in almost every voice type at least once in your career.
And I think when you're younger, people are afraid to deal with the weight that's in a voice.
Yeah.
And I had a very heavy, weighty voice even when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I was really encouraged to take the weight out, which really was a disservice later on.
Yeah.
But, when the weight was just completely unavoidable. But the truth is, I already had a strategy for it when I was younger, and I was kind of talked out of it. So for anybody who catches this, hello Ellen, who is a more dramatic voice type, I would urge you, don't let somebody talk you out of that just because they don't necessarily understand the kind of voice you have. It's really important just to stick to what is healthy for you. I just wanted to throw that in.
That's very good, and that's true. And especially for weightier voices when you're younger, the simpler you can keep it, the better it's going to be in the long run.
Yeah.
Because it's just a tricky thing.
Absolutely.
So the next thing, so that's the first question. What is the natural weight of my voice? The second question is going to be, what's the color of my voice?
Yeah.
So
the natural, unfabricated.
Unfabricated. I'm not trying to sound like an opera singer. I'm just literally trying to sing. And so in other words, is it more an Italian sound? Is it a bright sound? Is it a Germanic sound? Germanic. Yeah. French, all the different, it will help you decide, okay, the color of my voice is like this. Is it a darker color? Does it mean I'm a mezzo? Does that mean I'm a baritone? Or does that mean actually I'm a young dramatic voice that hasn't reached the point where I'm going to make that shift up into the higher registers? Yeah. So that's going to be your second question. What is the natural color of my voice? Unfabricated natural color.
Yep.
Next is going to be the projection of the voice, which is just literally the fancy way of saying, how loud is your voice?
Are you loud?
Are you loud or not? And this is actually a tricky one because it literally is this is something that is really important to remember, especially in North America, where the houses in general are just physically larger than even the big houses in Europe.
Yeah.
So you're filling a different space, 2,200, 2,400
so that's like the size
maybe.
A little bit less than Houston Grand Opera.
It's around the size of Houston. So when you're having to literally fill more space, volume does play an important role.
It does.
The tricky thing about volume though is that a lot of times, because some people, for me, my voice didn't start loud. Some people's voices start and they really have a wonderful resonance or a natural kind of really just a natural volume to the voice.
Which doesn't necessarily mean it's a dramatic voice.
But doesn't mean that's the question. That's the problem. Is sometimes.
Do you think you choose the repertoire or the repertoire and the theater's agents chooses you? Okay, let's get back to that.
That's a really good question.
That's a very good question.
We'll come back to that one for sure.
Okay, we got South America in the house. Bam.
But the volume thing is tricky because people will misdiagnose a voice.
Yeah.
They will give it more dramatic repertoire than the weight of the voice will actually allow. And so they go based on volume as opposed to based on weight.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a tricky area. So it's just something to be aware of. If you do have a voice that really shoots into the house naturally, that's just something to keep in mind.
Yes.
But also too, the truth is if you answer the weight question and kind of the color questions right, then the projection will kind of take care of itself. It's just something to remember. So, and then this is more of a statement than a question, which is it's a tessitura. The question of tessitura, where the voice sits in the meat of a role or in the meat of an aria, where the main part of it sits. Really heavy voices, very heavy voices, usually do not sustain high tessituras, even if they have a large vocal range.
Yeah.
Having a big voice does not necessarily mean you don't have any range.
Yeah.
Sewell has a big voice, but she has a huge range.
Yeah, but I get tired out if I have to sit really high. Well, I mean, I can do some of that freakish stuff. I mean, Donna Elvira, for example, sits in the passaggio of almost the whole role, but it goes up and down.
But it goes up and down.
Yeah.
And that's something to actually remember when you're looking at, which actually we'll talk about that here in a second, actually. But the tessitura, when it comes to that, find what suits your voice the best.
For Norman, how did you help your voice grow in volume? Don't really know how to ask this, just with time and constant work. Okay, that's a good question
also
too.
Good question.
Okay, we'll do the questions.
We'll do the questions at the very end. That's a good one.
Those two.
Yep.
Thank you for Meme Opera and Olivier. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And our baseline for this, and it really is true, believe it or not, it's really this simple.
Let's just break it all down for you.
Crazy simplistic, but it's really true, and it is this. If I can sing it easily, that's a good place to start.
Yay!
And that doesn't mean that it won't be extreme. Some people can toss off extreme things just like nothing. Sula's one of them. She can just toss off extreme things, but it's easy for her to sing. Yeah. For me, I need like Mary Had a Little Lamb, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
You're done.
Now, wait a minute, we gotta go down here.
Bad.
Yeah. So
next. You got all that to say?
Yeah, but then we're almost there. And now I know, isn't it crazy? I'm sorry. I'm gonna speed it up.
This is like I cut these notes down so hard too. How are there still so many notes?
Now, after you've determined kind of the big picture for your voice, which is kind of these 3 questions, 3 to 4 things that you're going to look at, then you're going to strategize. Like it or not, there are simply some operas that get produced more than others. When you're trying to book your first job, it's really important that at least some of what you use is standard repertoire. Yeah. If you can, it doesn't have to be all of it, but some of it needs to be standard.
For days, Traviata for days,
exactly
for days.
If you can, so
like it's bread and butter.
It's going to up your chances of success. So then, looking at your natural strengths. Yes. Every single one of you, everybody out there, every person is uniquely made. Yes. And there may seem to be a billion light lyric sopranos sometimes. But the truth of the matter is, even if there are a billion of them, there's only one of you.
That's right.
There's only one of whoever. So she did. And so find out, you find out, and this is true, you find out what is special, what is specific about what you have and what your voice is. Yeah. Perhaps maybe it's your timbre is very special, it's a specific kind of timbre, or that can go into the color of your voice.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, jump in.
It's not even because you can convey that necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say you're singing Serlina or whatever, but it's just for you to know, because that'll help your confidence level. You say, well, you know what? I know that this particular thing about me is special to me. And it just kind of builds up your confidence. That's what I wanted to say.
Exactly.
Hey, there's Amanda. Hey, Amanda.
It's absolutely true. So maybe you can sing coloratura like nobody's business, and you can fly. Maybe you've got a high C that just comes out like a cannon, and you want to show that off. Do it. That's exactly, you know, play to your strengths. Find out what you're good at. Play to your strengths. So that brings us actually to the kind of end of this section, which is the most important thing about choosing repertoire is putting down the ego, putting aside what you want, your preferences,
your
dreams. Put that aside and say, what am I the best at? What am I the best at? So, and some people, the truth of the matter is, have an easier time doing that than others. We've seen that, you know, people want to sing this repertoire or they want to be this kind of voice.
I want to be the queen of the night. It's not happening.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
so so when you know, this is about to be successful. One of the most important things about being successful in any of this is you've got to find what you're the best at.
That's right.
You've got to find what you're the best at. Whether you like other things. For me, if I were going to choose repertoire that I love the most, it'd be Verismo things. But my voice is not built for Verismo things. It's built for other things. So, then the ultimate two questions. There's your two questions that brings you down to, which is, what am I built for? What am I the best at?
That's right.
Those two questions right there are the ones. And so
you break it down.
You break it down and you put all those together and you're gonna have a pretty good picture. Even if you're in transition or you're in a different part of the developmental stage or the developmental phase, those questions will always apply. What am I built for now, even if my voice has changed? What am I built for? What am I the best at? What's the weight of my voice now versus what it used to be? What's the color? Has the color changed? You know, all of that. That will always play for you. So they're just some, you know, I think really good fundamental tips that really actually play really well to finding out exactly what you need to work on when you're trying to choose.
And you know, and the point is, you need to find you do all of that work so that you can find out what is going to work best for you under pressure. Because most of the time, when you're presenting this repertoire, you know, it's different than when you get hired for something and you rehearse for 6 weeks. You are presenting yourself. I'm just going rogue, I'm going off script here. But like, you're presenting yourself, and you know, you have 10 minutes usually in an audition to do that. So it has to be what makes you unique, what you feel most comfortable doing, and what's reliable for you. So that's something we can talk more about. But all right, I'm going to cover this. We have a second.
It's your turn.
A little sub question, a little great questions to ask. You can get stuck in what you used to do and forget who you are now. Yeah, for real.
That's true.
Okay, so the second part of this question was about strategizing for German opera houses. That was the other part. Hi there, Miss Ivy. I get that now. And I like that because we had just talked about fest contracts. So the truth of the matter is, with fest contracts, German opera houses, repertoire houses, most of the time when you're auditioning for them, this was specifically somebody asking about trying to get into an ensemble. So the truth of the matter is, usually ensemble singers are lyric singers, usually. Unless the house does a lot of big dramatic repertoire. But even so, like in Leipzig, they started, after we left, they started doing big dramatic repertoire, but they mostly hired guests.
And
right?
they were people who had already were in that anyway. So it's generally light lyric up into the lyric.
That's right. So basically, what does that mean? So if you are auditioning in Germany and you want to be hired, especially in the ensemble, your strategy for repertoire needs to center on the lyric rep. So that's like your Mozart, it's, you know, Barber, Traviata, Bohème, Così, Flute, etc. Yeah, Rossini, Bellini.
Things like that.
Yeah, and then it's good also to offer German language. And I've already started the blog post on this, but basically I put like 2 little sample like audition aria lists, but I just did them for like soprano, because sorry.
By the way, Bonnie has a question. She switched short aria with high notes is not as great as my Caro Nome, so I've switched to offering that.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I think we're going to take all the questions at the very end.
We've got 3,
because,
we'll take it at the very end.
And this is like, I'm literally almost done with this, because this is just a little extra, but okay, got that.
Got that.
And also, Olivier got your question too. All right. Right. So yeah, it's lyric repertoire. Yeah, and depending on your voice type, you should also just research what a German house, like the mindset of a German casting director, German house opera casting director, because they might have different ideas about what is for what kind of voice type. So like in a German opera house, for example, Mimi can be sung by spintos, but also lyrics.
Yeah.
And that's something you won't know.
That's the same with
tenors.
tenors.
So yeah, so I'll put a little sample list on the blog after this. If you are trying to get guest work in a German house, oh, can you wave at Sophie for me?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Hi, Sophie.
I always wave at everybody.
No, sorry, I was looking at the.
You know,
Oh, hello.
well, hey folks. Yeah, so if you're auditioning for guest jobs, it's unlikely you're going to be hired for the lyric repertoire, just so you know that, as a guest. Especially if you're coming all the way from North America and you're not like a super well-known singer. That is an unlikely thing.
It's not always the
because,
case.
yeah, and they have a budget, and they have to justify their budget. So it's like, well, why did you bring that singer all the way from Minnesota when you could get somebody from Belgium?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so that's one thing, just so you guys know that.
Yep.
Sometimes it decreases your chance of being hired, sometimes, okay? But by the time you're auditioning for guest repertoire in the German repertory system, we're assuming, first of all, you have an agent who like does all the preliminary work
who
for
helps you organize all that.
Helps you know what they're looking for, saying, okay, you're going for an audition in this house for XYZ role, and you'll already know. And when you go, it is important, okay, like, I haven't always stuck to this, but I found it's most effective when you just offer what they're casting for. Don't assume that just because you sing Manon Lescaut and they're casting for Tosca, that they're going to be able to understand you singing Manon Lescaut and cast you as Tosca. And I don't mean that against anybody, it's just sometimes they just have to hear the rep in order to cast you. And so that's something you need to know. But as I said, it's unlikely that you'll get hired as a guest in a German opera house. In lyric repertoire.
I would say, you know, the best, I mean, as far as the houses in Germany that would hire that as guests will be the bigger houses.
Yes.
So they're going to be the Staatsoper, Deutsche Oper in Berlin, it's going to be Dresden, or it'll be Munich.
But if I'm thinking about people getting like the best shot to get their foot in the door, that's less likely.
It's less likely.
You'll have a better chance if you are a lyric mezzo, and you want to do guest jobs in Europe. You'll have a better chance in stagione systems, like in France, Italy, Spain, the UK. So that's just for you all to know that. And then we have two final thoughts.
Yes.
And I'll do mine first, then you can do yours.
Okay.
If you have, and this is just like also just, I need to take my own advice. If you have a consistently bad experience with an aria, stop offering that aria.
Stop saying.
Okay, like
saying something.
I don't think I'm gonna offer Chrysotemis in auditions anymore because I've never had a great experience with it.
Yep.
I do much better with other Strauss roles.
Yep.
I'm just not going to do it. You know, I've never sung the role on stage yet, so I don't fully understand how to manage certain parts of the big scene. And I've tried, and guess what? It's not fun. So I'm just not going to do it. And you shouldn't either.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's your final thought. There it is.
Okay, there it is.
You don't need your notes anymore.
I don't need my notes. So the final thought on this is, and this is for a range of voices. Generally, it's going to be for more dramatic voices, but it's, hi, Catherine. Which is Mozart is not.
Hi, Sammy.
Mozart is not for everyone.
No.
It's not for everybody.
I think we just leave it there. We'll just put it out there. If that's provocative, somebody can ask.
Boom. If somebody wants to know about why we think Mozart is not for everyone, especially since everyone tells you that Mozart is for everyone,
ask us why.
You're welcome to ask us why. But but those are our thoughts. So
for the purposes of YouTube. For the replay, I'm going to end that video, but we're going to continue now on Instagram with your questions. So thank you, YouTube.
Thank you, YouTube.
I hope that you guys enjoyed this. It was helpful. Leave comments. Don't forget to subscribe. All that stuff and the thing and whatever. We love you.
And the thing and whatever. Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Pants, 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 pants. I've got leather pants on, pants, 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 pants. How are you gonna do your rap again?
I will never do that again.
Please.
I'm ready for the chicken. Why is it recording?
Because I wanted to see if you would rap again.
Really?
Yeah.
You have to set me up right now.
Okay. I've got leather pants on,